so then we go to Raw, okay? And what was the Raw number, Joe?
They had a good number.
It was really up. Let me confirm. Let me see. Best in 17 months, 2.114 million. Down from the 30th anniversary, but still good, you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, everybody's invested in the storyline.
Yep.
You know? So Raw opens up, and they would, and I think this one of the reasons it's got a really good numbers. I think people are looking to see what's next with the Bloodline, right? But they didn't really even reference the Bloodline stuff until like later in the show when they showed a package. But I think of course they're saving it for SmackDown. But Cody came out, and bro, this was a long promo, but it was really good. It was typical. I don't want to talk about this. I don't get this. It's like, well, what did Cody do? Okay, Vince McMahon, when he was in the WWE previously, they were doing nothing with him.
Yeah,
it was Stardust. Like, they saw nothing in this guy. Okay, so then he goes to AEW, and he has a chance to book himself, right? And he's got the suit and tie on now, and he's cutting good promos. He's having good match. He's a different guy, right? But I'm just very surprised that like they brought him back after just getting rid of him a few years ago, and it's like he's in the top spot right now. Well, how do you think that went? How did that go down?
My hypothesis is this. He went in there, he did some killer promos, and I'll never forget the one he did with his brother where he cried, which was absolutely great. Mm-hmm. Then, if you remember at the end there, the people started to turn on him because he did that Martin Luther King, my daughter's black, and a biracial thing. And then he was feuding with the Nightmare Family, and people were starting to boo him, remember?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially the feud and match he did with the boxer guy.
Yeah, Go-Go. Right. Yeah, like that big U.S.-England feud.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyways, I think this is what I think. They saw, okay, this guy can talk. He can work. And this is the big first star we could take away from AEW and put it in. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was part of it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because there's always a good feeling when a promotion takes another promotion's top star or one of their top stars. Always.
Right. Okay, so he got a really good promo here. Just talk about his history in WWE. It's just a good babyface promo. Then the Judgment Day comes out. So Dom said Cody ruined their plans at Rumble, and Dom said Mammy Rhea Ripley won the Women's Rumble, and we'll tell everyone her plan is later. But I was supposed to win the Men's Rumble match, Dom said. Balor laughed while wondering what happened to Rey Mysterio. Balor said Dom was lucky enough to find Rey's mask. Then Dom said Cody put his hands on him and ruined his night at the Rumble. Dom said that Cody would have got if he tried that in prison. That was pretty funny.
That was great.
Then Priest said Dom should have been the only multi-generational superstar to win WrestleMania, and not some suck-up who gets his way whenever he wants. Then Priest said Ripley had him first and earned her way while Cody was handed number 30, and Dom said Cody owes him an apology for ruining his moment. Cody asked Dom if he was trying to scare him straight. That was actually a great line. And he said he has tremendous respect for Dom's father, and Dom said he doesn't respect his own father, the fathers of anyone in attendance, or even Cody's father. The crowd started kick his ass chant. And basically, Cody said, I can play it safe and stay healthy to WrestleMania. I can beat me and kick some ass tonight. He challenged any three of them to face him later in the show. And they said, I guess we're going to find out who it is. But then as the music was being played and everybody's just leaving, Edge came out and started fighting and beating up the Judgment Day. And then they had just a big brawl to go to commercial. I thought that was a good little tease there at the end of the segment. What did you think of this?
1 second. I just thought that Cody's promo started off a little slow, and then it ended up really good with good delivery. Great surprise by Edge at the end to start off the show hot.
Had you guys seen this? I don't know if this is how she really feels or she's just working, but I was researching some stuff here, and it came up that Vicky Guerrero was not happy about the Dominik Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero comparisons. She responded to someone on Twitter saying, I'm tired of hearing Dominik compared to Eddie. He will never be Eddie in any way, shape, or form. It's plain disrespectful. And Vicky's daughter also said it's seriously stupid. And the article says, well, it turns out the Guerrero family isn't a fan of the new Dominik gimmick. You think that they legitimately feel that way, or it's just...
Yeah. Okay. If they are, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I would find that out, Conan, because if they're literally for shoot hurt, that Dominik is...
But what is he doing from Eddie that...
Trying to say he's the next Eddie Guerrero and like he's better than Eddie, and
right.
But like it's a freaking.
I haven't heard anybody say that.
Yeah, where's ever?
Well, Dominik said it in a promo and stuff like that. I guess that's where they got it from.
Oh, that's a promo, dude. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course he doesn't believe that.
Right.
So Seth versus Chad Gable. I just fast forward. You knew who's going to win this.
I will say this about this match. This was, even though you knew who was going to win, it was okay because it was good. And they did a little bit of everything in this bout. There was some high flying, some submissions, some good striking, suplexes, and Seth actually gave him a lot, which is good when somebody's doing the honors. But go ahead.
So he goes over, and then next is Iyo Sky versus Candice LeRae. Did not make it to Hulu, but I saw people tweeting that these guys had a hell of a match in NXT, and I guess this was a really good match here tonight too, even though I didn't care about the outcome, even though it was not in question.
Okay, the match was good. Okay, better than I expected, and better than 90% of the women's matches. But here's the most important thing to me: Bayley was out there, and she distracted LeRae, who then rolled up.
You mean Sky?
Sky,
LeRae, so
right.
Iyo Sky rolled her up.
Right. Bro, and this girl, Munchkin, was out there. Munchkin. She was out there. And, bro, she did absolutely nothing. This buries her as a face. When she did that, she should have gone over there and whooped her ass. And so, what was she out there for? Just to stand ringside and console her?
I don't know, but let me make a note here. For this Powell's POV, right, of this match, Graves was fun afterward by questioning why Minchin didn't do more to help. I don't think he was foreshadowing anything because LeRae and Minchin seemed fine afterwards, but it did feel like a fair question. Anyway, Sky and LeRae worked hard and produced an entertaining match. On a side note, joined John Moore for his live. Okay, whatever. But yeah, he brought that. I guess Graves did mention that too.
Well, if I was LeRae, when she went in there to console me, I would have said, "Why are you consoling me? Why didn't you help me out?" And I would have Shibata headbutted her and kicked her in the head. Nothing.
Right. So she just sat there and let the girls get over on.
Right.
Maybe they look at her as maybe more of a tough type character to put in damage control, as opposed to the small, because she's got a little bit of size on her, doesn't she?
Who?
Minchin.
Yeah, more than the other girls. Yeah, they're very small.
Maybe they could use her in that group because, like I said, they're all small. Like I said, Bayley should not be the biggest person in that group. Well, she should be the smallest person in a group like that.
They should just break up that group. That group is not over.
So basically, Rhea comes out, cuts a promo, and the storytelling gets very simplistic and basic during WrestleMania season. She basically just came out and she said, "I'm challenging Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. I choose you." And that was the gist of the promo. But it was a good promo. But there's nothing,
Okay, so this is a good promo. I like Rhea since she was in NXT, and they dropped the ball with her over and over until she joined Judgment Day. But dude, nothing against Flair because I like her wrestling, but she always seems to have the title. Let's freshen this up with Rhea, who is the hotter act, and start a rivalry.
Right.
And the girl that's gonna.
So next is Rollins was interviewed by Kathy Kelly backstage.
And let me just say this: and the only girls that I think that could be a challenge to Belair is Becky Lynch or maybe Ronda.
Wait, what now?
Belair has to pick an opponent too, right?
Right.
And I think the only credible opponent.
No, they're not. No, they get the. Well, go ahead.
The only one is to me that would be credible against her would be Lynch or Rousey.
Okay. So Seth Rollins was interviewed by Kathy Kelly backstage. She asked him for comment on Logan Paul limiting for the Rumble. Rollins chuckled and walked away without responding, so he's obviously upset about Logan Paul. Next was Corbin and Gargano in a what do you call it? This is actually funny. Both the entrances were televised. It's Gargano versus Corbin, and they replayed footage of Erwin R. Shyster taking the bulk of Corbin's poker winnings at Raw. That's a funny spot actually. I guess these guys used to have matches back in NXT. Gargano's been there forever, and I guess they were pretty good. But this wasn't bad. I watched most of this, so even for small guy versus big guy, it was all right. But Gargano went over, and they did some weird spot with Loomis came out, and he had a hatchet.
Right, and he put it through the hat.
Put it through the hat, and he hit on the table, and JBO was acting scared to death, and
he overreacted. Yeah,
right.
This. I don't even know why Loomis is hanging out with this guy. Does nothing for him. But I will say I love Corbin's finish, which he didn't do. But I also like his chokeslam backbreaker. I don't get Gargano's push. I know he's a good wrestler, but he beat this guy clean, who JBL was touting as a top star and hasn't been booked as such. You know what I would do, Glenn?
What?
I would have Corbin turn on JBL and go on a run because he can talk, he can work, he can generate heat, which is not something I would have said 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
But he just beat him clean.
Yeah. So MVP was in the ring for the VIP lounge, and he introduced Austin Theory and touted him as being courageous enough to defend the U.S. title. Theory told MVP he used to watch the VIP lounge when he was a little kid, and he told MVP that he wanted to help make the VIP lounge relevant again. And suggested VIP lounge live and changed it to Austin Theory live. And MVP said classics never go out of style, and suggested they go with the VIP lounge presents Austin Theory live. This is actually pretty funny how they're trying to. You got two heels trying to get over on each other here, is what it sounds like. So it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Then MVP turned the focus to Theory entering the Elimination Chamber, and a "You Suck" chant broke out. And Theory barked at the crowd and called MVP, stating Bobby Lashley would beat him. And Theory said he was just messing with MVP and said they could talk about the chamber. Theory recalled being F5 off the top of a chamber pod by Brock Lesnar. And Theory said he was still standing there because he's a ruthlessness that the new generation needs and no amount of aggression can stop him. MVP said he liked what Theory was saying and said he was once a young, brash U.S. champion. And MVP said Undertaker once threw him off the pod. MVP said he also knew that Theory wasn't afraid and wasn't showing it to warn him that you never know who will be in that match. And Theory wondered if that was a threat. MVP spoke about Bobby Lashley potentially being in the match, and Theory said he already beat Lashley twice and said Lashley would not be in the match. Then MVP said he and Lashley are no longer business partners, so he couldn't speak on his behalf, even though he was kind of speaking on his behalf, which is funny. Then MVP mentioned something about Theory's health. Theory said MVP should be worried about his own health and Lashley's health. Theory said everyone knows that Lashley is MVP's meal ticket, said his meal ticket was about to be eaten up by Brock Lesnar. Then Bobby Lashley made his entrance to play the crowd, and once in the ring, MVP tried to talk him down, but Theory told Lashley to listen to his daddy, which made MVP step aside, and Lashley roughed up Theory, and a Bobby chant broke out. And Lashley tried to spear Theory, who pulled MVP, who took the spear while Theory escaped the ring. Then Patrick questioned what this would mean for the relationship between Lashley and MVP.
Yeah, quick comment. MVP's always good on the mic. Theory was good. He had tremendous heat. Lashley came in. People were chanting his name because they thought, okay, he's going to spear this guy. And then he speared MVP, which was a nice swerve. So, yeah.
Yeah. So backstage, they had an interview with Dominik and Ray and Balor, and basically Balor challenged Cody later. All right. The Miz was in the ring in a suit and complained he wasn't given the proper spotlight at Raw 30, and it was attacked by Owens, and they got a bad number in the Royal Rumble. He said everyone ganged up on him because he knew he was a threat. That he was a threat and he was the first man out. Miz got the crowd to chant first man out and scolded them. The Miz also complained. That was pretty funny. Wasn't given a chance to qualify for the Elimination Chamber, and Miz demanded respect. Adam Pearce walked out and said the Miz wanted an opportunity and also had someone beating down his door and was also looking for an opportunity. Then Pearce introduced Rick Boogs, the newest member of the Raw roster, and he came out and played his air guitar and air drums while heading to the ring dressed in his gear. Then Boogs continued to be her air musician was the end of the ring, and Miz cut him off and asked Pearce if he really wanted to have a match with Boogs. Miz said he was wearing a $10,000 suit that my wife bought me. That was a great line. And Pearce called for referee and made the match official. Boogs beat him in a minute 15. What did you think of this?
Miz is absolutely great at generating heat, which he did here. Boogs came out. He's very muscular.
Yes.
I didn't know this till recently, but he was a state champion in wrestling, and he was a Division I wrestler at Wisconsin and actually went to the Olympic trials. But, bro, this guy, and I know you saw this, which I kind of popped, he was acting more than Asuka and Brian Christopher ever have. He was uber before and after the match, and later on when he does a promo. And here's the other question. Why didn't he come out in his guitar? Why is he playing air guitar and air drums, which look kind of mega Dutch?
Yeah. So then we have Bayley comes out for a promo, and she was Becky Lynch made her hang on a minute. Bayley said everyone was talking about how Damage Control took out Lynch and made history. Becky Lynch made her birthday while Patrick Becky Lynch made her entrance while Patrick noted it was her birthday, and Lynch stood on the stage with the mic and looked at the crowd, and Lynch told Bayley to shut up, called her a stupid fool. Lynch said they weren't done until the man says they are done, and Lynch said she's already won the Rumble, just need to make sure that Bayley and her girls did not win it. Then Bayley accused Lynch of making excuses, and Lynch said robbing the fans of a cage match is excuses. Lynch accused Bayley of 301 attacks because she's afraid to face her one-on-one, and Bayley said Lynch has to make everything about her. It is my birthday, Lynch said. Bayley said she didn't give a damn and doesn't suck up to her. I know you and I don't like you, Rebecca, Bayley said. Bayley accused Lynch of being overrated and said she's not good enough to be in the ring with her one-on-one, and said that Lynch isn't even good enough to be with Seth Rollins. The only reason he married you is because he knocked you up, Bayley said of Rollins, and Lynch got all mad, and Lynch called for them to end it where they started by having a cage match in Orlando on Raw next week. Bayley declined. And Lynch said she thought Bayley would decline, so she would be right back. And Lynch put her mic down and headed backstage, and she dragged Dakota Kai onto the stage with the chair wrapped around her leg and said, "What's it going to be, Bayley?" Lynch asked. Then Lynch held up the chair and teased hitting Kai with it, but Bayley stopped and said she had her match. And Lynch told her she could bring her girls with her next week, but she might want to check on Iyo Sky backstage. So Becky beat them all up. And
what did you think of this?
I'm not into this still.
I like Bayley and Becky, and usually Becky delivers on her promos, and so did Bayley until she started out with Damage Control. Their promos have not been good, but this to me was subpar all the way around, from the mic work to the stupidity with dragging her out with the chair.
Right.
Let me just say one thing. Hey, Joe.
Yes.
Did you see the show?
No, I didn't see Raw. I saw the Rumble, but not Raw.
Anyways, you might want to see it. So there's a part. Did you see when they had Mansoor and Mash? What's the other guy's name?
Oh, those guys the
model guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they had him backstage. Yeah, did you see that?
Have you been seeing the promos?
The MMA stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
That was great. But did you see this one on Monday? Their backstage thing. A disco.
No.
So basically, Otis comes out and he does that. Oh yeah, and the Maasai goes, "That's disgusting," and Mansoor goes, "That's grotesque," and then the girl goes, "It's perfect." So I don't know where they're going with this, but the stunner shades that the black guy was wearing, I think you should wear, Joe. And if you're willing, and if you look it up and you're willing to wear them, I'll buy them for you.
Nice.
Yeah, because this cheap, thrifty store that you're wearing is brutal.
What do you think if I switch to the?
You need some pizzazz, bro. You need some personality. You have none.
Are those any good there? No?
I think it is personal. He's like
he's like the Unabomber in Philadelphia.
He's like the.
I got these from.
He's like who's the Breaking Bad guy in Quaaludes. He's like dressed up like the Breaking Bad guy, but Quaaludes just like sitting there the whole time, just like the Breaking Bad. Okay, that's what we're gonna start calling. Should we start calling you that, Joe? Breaking Bad Joe Feeney. Because you look like Breaking Bad now.
Why not? But I got these for Vincero, and I was like, I like these, and then I put them on, and I was like, these look like Joe Biden's glasses. God damn it! You know the ones he always wears.
Right. All right. So next is So Adam Pearce has a promo backstage and sets up the women's qualifying and the elimination and 4-way to determine the other entrance next week or whatever. Then Chelsea Green tapped Pearce on her shoulder and complained to him about the poor accommodations she gave her. And Green wondered where her private dressing room, fresh spring water, and Swiss chocolate was. Pearce said they would go get her some Swiss chocolate, then looked annoyed after she turned around.
That was very illogical. Why didn't he just tell her to why would you, I'm going to go get you some hot chocolate or some Swiss chocolate.
Weird writing right there, right?
Right.
So Dolph makes his entrance, and they showed something earlier today. So Mustafa Ali is kind of like picking on Dolph Ziggler for always getting chances and never delivering, and so I'm sure they're going to lead up to a match. But this is actually giving Mustafa Ali some pretty good personality.
A little personality, yeah.
Right, it's not bad. It's the best stuff that they've given him to do so far. Okay, so I'm giving him a shot here. I'm digging what he's been doing. It's been, and him and Ziggler are going to have a great match. So, so Bronson Reed wrestles Dolph. I don't know who's producing Bronson Reed, but bro, he's making very cartoonish like facials. Like you see how he's out there, he's like going, I'm like, what the hell are you doing, dude? Like, but he beats everybody knew he's gonna win. He went over in 3 minutes. So Carmella was interviewed by Kathy Kelly, and Kelly noted that Carmella had been away for 7 months.
Wait. Sorry to interrupt, but to answer your question, Shane Helms produced Bronson Reed versus Dolph Ziggler.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask Shane Helms why if he's telling Bronson Reed to make cartoonish monster facials, which is what he was like. He's like, if you're going to do like that, he should be like a monster. He could be the next Mantor. Remember Mantor?
Oh, yeah.
He should be like,
Bruiser Mastino.
Right.
Yeah, but Mantor was supposed to be like a supernatural, like a part man, part animal type thing. He's just a normal human being.
Right.
It's like when Strom would go, "I'm a monster." I'm like, dude.
All right. So all right. So Carmella's being interviewed. She's bragging about everything. Then Asuka shows up without any face paint.
She looks great, by the way.
Right. And Asuka looks great without the face paint. Like, she's very attractive.
She looks way better, yes.
But she has to have the green.
Right, that was very lame. Super lame. Just buried her. That's super lame.
She's an attractive girl. Why are they making her paint her face or put your mouth. It's like
Right.
It's almost like it's like you think it's like racist or something.
No, I
Like,
wouldn't
why-
mind it. I wouldn't mind if she would have blew mist in her face like Muda.
Right.
But this is just leaking out of her mouth for no
Right.
apparent reason, no explanation. That's dumb.
Maybe they do a deal where she walks around and like we find out that she's like drunk backstage all the time. She's like filling out of her mouth and everything. I don't know. The broadcast. So they show Boogs backstage who's celebrating his win with the Street Profits Elias, and Saxon asked Boogs how it felt to get a victory in his first night back, and he said it felt like climbing a mountain in a loincloth. He said he wanted to scream at the top of his lungs, and then he did, and Boogs yelled that he's back. Elias said it takes great skill to be an artist, and he believes Boogs has all the tools to be one.
He was out backstage, which was funny, like Mojo Rawley style. Yeah.
Right. So then we do. Now we're at the end of the show, pretty much. So it's Cody Rhodes against Finn. And we had so Balor avoided the crossroads, put Cody down with a sling blade, and Balor set it for drop kick. Cody cut him off the super kick. Cody let out a woo and went for a figure four, but Balor countered an inside cradle for a 2 count. Then Cody went for the move again, but this time Balor kicked to the ringside near the other Judgment Day members. And they're all kind of like surrounding him. And then Edge ran in through the crowd, ran Priest into the wall, speared Dom, and Ripley attacked Edge. And that looked pretty good because her offense looks really good. Then Bex Phoenix came out and gave a great spear to Ripley. Then in the ring, Balor performed a double stomp that went up for his finisher, but Edge climbed the apron and distracted him. And Cody rolled out of the way for the coup de grace, hit 3 crossroads, and beat him. And after the match, Cody looked down to Edge and Phoenix, and Edge nodded at Cody while Gray said he didn't know if Cody would have gotten by without a little help from his friends. And that
this was great because Balor was working. Wait 1 second. Balor was working over his pec, the one that he got surgery on, which I liked, stomping on it, which a lot of people don't do that. It's like when this was a really good main event and a good ending with Edge and Phoenix. Really good.
Russo had a good point of how he would have ended this. And I agree, because I think you would have gotten some really good TV out of this. They could have done a spot where boom, 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 and Edge goes for the spear and actually misses and spears Cody.
Yeah, but we'd already kind of seen that
But think about this, though. This is a road to WrestleMania, and you want to keep getting good numbers, right? What if you did that? You go off hot with Cody and Edge, maybe face to face, and we set up a match for next week.
Yeah, but I would have done
Edge
something different,
Cody
not
Rhodes.
the spear, because we just saw that with Lashley.
Hey, this is just something where it ends up where Edge and Cody have an issue at the end of the show. Because now you go. That's the one thing about wrestling which makes it great is you could write these stories out to where we know what the next steps are. But when you put a roadblock in, it's like, oh, I never thought of this. Like, wow, this is.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
And you have Edge versus Cody for a main event on the show next week.
Right.
Think about the number that match would draw. And then you could do
bad idea, yeah.
You could do the story. You could do Beth Phoenix and everything. You could intertwine so many things, you know. So, yeah, I don't know. That's what I would say about that. But the show was I mean, honestly, like Rumble shows and Elimination Chamber lead ups and stuff, to me are a little bit lame because you're just going to have a bunch of qualifying matches, which is like what a lot of these things have been for the past. You had guys for weeks qualifying for the Rumble, they're qualifying for the Elimination Chamber, whatever. But but there's still some good storylines going on the show. So that's been our WWE television reviews.
Boom.